Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonathan Blackburn. I will be hosting the webinar today on VORTEK Spaces. Please note that this is a live webinar, and within the chat, there are some features where you can basically just go and ask questions. There's a chat inside the webinar feature. So if you have any questions, don't wait at the end. You can go and ask the questions. I should be able to see them as you ask them and answer them as we go. But if I don't, I guess I'll just answer at the end. So today's webinar is pretty simple. What we'll do is a basic overview of the application. So for both people that are already users of the application or people that are looking into VORTEK Spaces to start creating renderings, this is really where you'll get to see everything. So what I'll do here, I'll just start sharing my screen. So before I get even to the actual software, I just want to mention that if you go on our website, vortekspaces.com, and you go in the Learn section, on the very bottom of that page, you'll find our online video tutorials. So pretty much everything that I'll be showing today can be found again inside those tutorials with very simple titles and subjects. So you can just go and watch them all one by one if you want. Those videos are all between 5 and maybe 8 minutes for the longest. So, you can always go back and see if you're missing something or if you want to check again about just one specific feature inside the application. While I'm there, I just want to mention also that we have a live chat on our website. So if you have any questions, both for actual users and also for future users, if you have any questions you want to reach us, you can go and use the live chat feature on our website. We're located in Quebec City, Canada, so we have the same time zone as New York. So just to give you an idea, so if you come into working, I guess, business hours, Eastern time, like that, it will work. Otherwise, for people in New Zealand, Australia, normally if you go there very early in the morning, you'll be able to catch us. If nobody's live or able to answer to your question live, just still type the question and we'll receive it as an email and we'll reply back when we get back to the office. So what I'll do right now, I'll just go and open a project in Cabinet Vision. I guess from the people that are joining today, I believe that most are Cabinet Vision users. So this is why I'll be using a CV project today. But please note that Spaces also imports projects from different softwares like SketchUp, for example, and more software like Chief Architect and Mosaic, Cab Master. A bunch of other softwares can be imported as well inside Spaces. So if you have a different software, just give me a call and I'll let you know how it works. So basically, for Cabinet Vision users, this is an actual project that I've been using for my demonstrations lately. Some tricks that I like to give people when you want to create a really nice presentation for your customers. Always put a ceiling, always put a floor in your projects. That really helps containing the light as much as you can. Also try to close the walls around that room. So, when you put 4 walls around a room, that means that, anywhere you look, you don't see outside. It's much easier. It will also allow you to use, sunlight. And this is something that I'll mention later in that webinar, but sunlight sales projects. So, as soon as you put the lighting or the windows in, after that, we'll be able to use the sunlight coming inside the project. So everything that you see in that screen here, this is my Cabinet Vision 3D view. So like this is kind of the skeleton of the project. So I always like that image. And when you bring that skeleton inside Spaces, we use video game technologies to render it live. We'll reapply all of the textures that you already have in Cabinet Vision if you do have your textures already in. Otherwise, we'll just replace them in Spaces. So don't worry about that. So to export the projects, pretty simple. You just go inside that 3D view there. Then on top, you click on Utilities, then Export Collada. It will open a window where you can go and change the Save As type here to a VORTEK file. So this is our type of file. Like the export was added in Cabinet Vision back in version 9 already. So I'll just call it like webinar, like that, and save it on my desktop. You can save that file pretty much anywhere you want on your computer, but just try to remember where it is, because if you want to make changes later down the road, even when the project is inside Spaces, you've applied materials, lighting, 3D models, and all of that, you can always go back to your source project, make any changes, remove cabinets, add cabinets, open doors, add objects, remove objects, and just re-export the project over. Spaces will know automatically that there's an updated version of that file that exists now, and will just load the changes. So basically, you don't lose any of the work that you've done in your project, and you just have that new thing that will appear inside your project. So now switching to VORTEK Spaces. So this is the start screen. This is where what do you see when you first start the application. One nice thing to know is that Spaces is being installed on the Microsoft Store. So that means that we can push updates on the software pretty much anytime we feel like it. In average, it's probably about twice a month. Those updates will include both features, new textures, new models, also fixes. I guess, you know, it happens sometimes. There are a couple of things that we need to fix in the software. So basically, the nice thing about the store is that you're always up to date with the latest version. It installs automatically on your computer, so you don't have nothing to do. All of our customers are always using the same latest version. So to import a project, basically what you can do here is just click on select file to import. Or I could also just go on my desktop and double click on the file. Basically, the same thing would happen. In this case, I'll just import it like that. And import it. So at this point now, Spaces is kind of just rebuilding that whole 3D room. We use the video game technologies inside Spaces to be able to render everything live as you go. So like this is what it looks like when you first open it. I didn't show it in color in Camera Vision, but that's basically the textures and the colors that I had in my project. So nothing impressive there, but don't worry, we'll get to replace them all and everything will look very realistic when we're done with it. So first thing you need to know is how to move inside your project. So first thing, you can use a mouse. Left click is just like turning your head around. So I'm staying in the same position, and I'll just look in different directions around myself. If I do the same thing with a right click here, it's called the pan. So the pan is just like putting my hand on the screen and just going up and down in my project. Then if I use a wheel on my mouse, I can go back and forth in the project. And with the wheel, it will follow basically where the mouse is. So if I put my mouse on the left, it will go on the left. If I put it on the right, it goes on the right. You can also, another really nice trick for people that are already users, if you want to go a little bit slower when you move using the wheel, you can hold control on your keyboard and you still move forward, but much slower. So sometimes it's just easier to go and position yourself in a very specific location. You can also use the arrows on the keyboard. Left, right will make you turn around. Up, down will make you move back and forth in the project. And then if you hold shift, left and right, then you'll be able to move in a lateral direction inside your project. I basically use the keyboard buttons to move around, especially when I go and set up my viewpoints. Sometimes I set up one viewpoint and then I want just to move it sideways, exactly the same height and everything. So by moving and using the keyboard buttons, you'll always remain at the same height elevation inside your project. So typically in Spaces, we just repeat always the same steps over and over. Any projects that you'll be working on. So like the small projects, even the big projects, you know, it takes about the same time with a big project or a small project or a big project, because basically there's about the same number of materials in all of those. So first thing you'll notice here, we have different tabs on the top of the application there. So normally we always start in materials. When I'm in materials, when I click on something, it will start flashing in blue. That means this is my active selection. From there, I basically just go and I can switch and decide exactly which one I want to use in my project. When there's one that I like, I can basically just use a rotation here and turn it around. So you can turn it by 90 degrees or just by 5 or 68 degrees maybe. So you can just go and place it like that. Some textures will have more features than others. So when I click on my pen icon here, I'll be able to make some more modifications to my texture. So for example, some of those wood floors, I'll be able to change how they will be laid out on the floors. If I want just straight planks or herringbone or lined up like that with all those planks. So not all the wood floors will do that. Some of them will do. Some of the ceramics will do that as well when you go and look in your categories. If you want to make even more modifications to a material, what you can do is right click on the material, go click copy and edit. So when I do that, I end up having a copy of my material. So you see now it's called copy of floorboard. And when I do that, I have even more modifications. So if I want to make it, brighter, darker, more blue, more yellow, more green, so I can basically just go and change the tone of my material. I can change the smoothness, make it more, more glossy, less glossy, more texture. The texture is something really nice, and that's something you'll find on most of the textures in Spaces. So they're not just flat pictures, like, so when the light starts reflecting on that floor, you'll be able to see the cracks, you'll be able to see like the wood veins and all of that in your floor. So like that, you can even go and play with the scaling, 1 or 2 direction, make it bigger, smaller, and just change it like that. This here, like that. Then I'll just reapply it. After that, when I click on my cabinets, you see the software will automatically create a group with all of the objects that are sharing the same materials in Cabinet Vision. So that means if you have 2-tone kitchens in Cabinet Vision, then you'll have like 2 selection groups inside the app here. We have most of the major suppliers in here in the libraries, and all those libraries basically they just get downloaded automatically in your computer. So if I go here, for example, and decide to put some thermofoil, you'll be able to see the difference. If I go and put something that will be a high gloss finish, so you can see now like this is high gloss. If I put a matte, now you see like the reflections will be different. So you can see instantly the difference between the 2 different options. If I click on everything else here and I want to apply the same color, there's the InDesign option here. So when I go here, there's only the materials that have been applied already in my project. So it just makes it easier to go and find those materials and apply them. Sometimes you need to go and pick some of those edge bending if there were no edge bending in Cabinet Vision, like that. After that, if you want to break that selection down, basically when you click on the model, basically, so basically, when you click on the model, you get to select everything at the same time. But if you click one more time, you can break down that selection to only 1 item. And then using control, you can basically just go and add objects to your group like that, 1 by 1. So if I wanted to put, just like a wood finish on those cabinets, I can do that. I can, turn the wood grain around and change it like that very easily. Same thing for the countertop. So I can go here and apply one of my countertops. Again, all of those suppliers, most of those images will be scaled to the right dimension as well. So when you see that those veins on the countertop, like they should equal to the real veins in real life when you get to install that countertop there. Pretty much all of the texture that we use inside the app will be what we call seamless, but some of those countertops you still end up seeing some of those seams because they have larger larger veins on them. If that happens, there's a translate option, so you can just go in and move that texture around in your project to try to kind of hide that seam very easily like that. Then after that, in the materials, here I'll just go and put my same white glass there. All of the appliances, so basically in Spaces, everything that can be shiny should be shiny. So all of the stainless steel, we have really nice textures for stainless steel, really nice textures also for chrome. So and as you can see now, as soon as I start putting those textures in, like everything will start to look a little bit more real and natural. Here's stainless like that. So you see, like even that faucet. So now as soon as I put my chrome in, it just looks more like a real sink. We have also paint colors when we go here in the paints. So again, most of the major manufacturers of paints will be available in here. You can go and just apply those textures. When I go and apply paint, basically, even if it's already white, it's always better to go and apply the paint that we have inside Spaces because it will reflect the light in a more natural way than just the white that comes from Cabinet Vision. So you see for materials, pretty easy. You just go and apply your materials in your project. I'll show you some more materials a little bit down later down the road. So next step after that, now you see like basically in my Cabinet Vision, I made it on purpose. I did put some accessories in Cabinet Vision, but not all of them. The reason for that is because we have the 3D models inside Spaces now. So with the 3D models, basically you can just go there and find different types of decorations and models that you can apply in your project. So in there, we'll find, for example, appliances. So when I click on one, you see, well, just follow my mouse. So if I just go on the countertop on here, so it just follows. So like the idea, I just go and put it pretty much in place, and then I'll just get a little bit closer so I can just readjust it by using those arrows. So basically 1 arrow means you can move it in one direction. 2 arrows will be in 2 different directions like that. Any 3D models, you can also scale them. There's a scaling option here, so you can scale it like in one direction or two directions or proportionally as well if you pick any of the corner dots right there. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Then in those 3D models, we have also bathroom accessories. We'll have plants, really nice looking plants. Plants in 3D are always kind of like a big burden for most rendering softwares. That's really elements that are really hard to render. And so basically the one that we supply here, we just make sure that they will run fine inside your application, that they will look very good when you do your drawings. So, just adding a couple of plants there really adds a lot of life to your projects. We have also animated cats. That's something that everybody finds funny, but it will make people react, and that's basically one thing that you're looking for. You're looking for reactions when you present that project to your customer. So by putting like a cat that is moving somewhere, it really helps with the ambience. You've got also generate kitchen accessories, pots and pans and like bagels that I can just go and put right there on my countertop, and then blueberries maybe. So, and toasts. I guess I'm just setting up a breakfast scene there. In there, we have a lot of accessories, so you can just go and bring them right there inside your projects. We have keyboard shortcuts. Also, I'll mention them a little bit. We have a website on our website. We have a printable document for keyboard shortcuts. Now that will just make it very easy for you guys to move them faster, because yes, you can use on the left here, you've got like the rotation, but there are a couple of keys like the Q letter on your keyboard that will just make everything rotate by 15 degrees. That just makes it a little bit easier. We have even books like that, so I can go and put a couple of books right there on my shelf and things like that. So in the 3D models, we have also doors, electronics. We have animated fire. Actually, that one is not released yet, but it's coming soon. Some of the categories you'll see in my computer right now are not released yet. I'm just the lucky one that gets to test them all before they get released officially. But if you see them there, that means that we're working on them and they should be released soon. In those models, actually, like something that is not released that is super nice is those sinks that will just create a hole inside the countertop. So when I go ahead and put it there, it will just create a hole inside my countertop. So when I place my sink, I don't even need to have a sink or a hole made up in Kevin Vision. So that's something that is coming very soon. We have in there also animated trees and bushes. So when you put those trees outside your project, what's really nice is that you'll end up seeing the leaves moving. So I'll just go and put it outside. So as you can see now, the leaves are moving. So when we start putting the sunlight in, you'll see like the sunlight going through those leaves. So that's something that always add a lot of life to your projects. We have in here the whole Wayfair catalog. That's over 40,000 different models that you can use in your projects. So that Wayfair catalog, basically we're synchronizing it with the Wayfair website. So typically if you see something there, you should be able to buy it on their website. You will see the link as well. So for example, if I go there and just look for like a stool, you see we have a lot of choices that you can go and use in your projects. You just find the one that you like. Sometimes you can scroll forever until you find the one that you like. I guess people sometimes are even more picky than I am. Just go back to the beginning maybe. Let's go with something like that maybe. So you see when I click on it, it will load it from the internet, and then I can just go there and apply it in my project. So actually it's not the nicest one that I picked. Even the models that you get from the 3D warehouse, you can always just go back here and change the material. So if I wanted to put this one in Chrome and maybe change the seat to a different type of letter, we have like a brown letter here, lighter, darker, maybe like that. And nice thing is that even when you do modifications like that, when you click on that item now, you can click on properties and save this 3D model to your library. So when I do that, that means that this will be now in my categories. I'll be able to reuse it with the same materials every time. Same thing if I was to change a scale or the dimension of something, then I can save it like that and then reuse it exactly like that. So, you know, same thing if I click here and I want to reapply another one, you see now it has the same, it's sharing the same material properties. In the 3D models after that, you know, we do have a lot of in the 3D models, and we just keep adding more and more and more items in there. Just forgot to put some white here, like that. So yeah, like the 3D models, we always keep updating them. We keep adding more and more. We try to make sure that you have a big enough or a large enough selection that you have everything that you need to create your projects. But if you missing something, which for sure will happen, that's where you can import your own 3D models. So to import your own 3D models, what you can do, the easiest way to do that is to go on the 3D warehouse. So for people that are not familiar with the 3D warehouse, it's a website that's a user-based website. So people are just uploading models there. It's all free. You can go there, download any of those models. But what's really nice is that, you know, just like you can see with some of those tables, is that you'll be able to find tables with chairs and decoration and the light and everything. So that means when I import that inside my project, you know, just by one click, now I have a kitchen table. I have a whole dining room just with just one item. So to download that, when you get on the 3D warehouse, you just need to click right next to download in that small arrow there, and download it as a Collada file. So you'll receive a zip file on your computer. And now going back to Spaces, all I have to do is just click on import 3D model. And this one is in my downloads. I guess it's a bigger model. Oh, it's loading. It's there. So as you can see now, I'll just go and bring those items inside my project. I can just go and put them there. So it looks good. And then I can go back to my materials and change those materials to something different, like a glass. Something else also for light bulbs, something that is really nice in the appliance category, we have a material called emissive material. So when you do that, you know, it just looks like the light has been lit like that. So you can change it and pick how bright it should be. You can go and change even that wood and, for example, put the same wood grain as the one that we have on the cabinet doors. Like that. I can change, you know, like even the leather on those chairs if I wanted. Pardon me. And then, pardon me again, can put the same material as my countertop. So, you know, like very easily, as soon as you put a kitchen table next to your kitchen, it really helps your customer understanding like the whole dimension of that room. Same thing, you know, in this project, I like to put like a couch on this side or something like that. So again, people would really understand how much space that they have left inside the project. So that's it for the 3D models. Next, go after that in the staging area. So when we go in the staging area, this is where we take care of the lighting of your project. So, you know, like in this project, I don't have any lights added already. So there's something called the ambient light. If I turn it off, just to show you, now it's just completely dark inside my project. So in Spaces, because we do live renderings, basically the ambient light will just kind of fake that bouncing of the light that will be coming out from the windows and things like that. It makes sure that you can see in your project, I guess, while you're applying your materials and your 3D models as well. But as soon as you start adding lights, this is really when we'll start having more shadows. So right now, you know, we have some reflections there. But when we add lightings in the project, this is really where the textures will kind of come up to life. There's also a feature in Spaces that will readjust the lighting as we go. So if you put too many lights, the software will just make everything darker a little bit. So it readjusts, just like if I was using my phone to make a video and go into like a very bright room and then into a very dark room right after. So to add the lights in your projects, basically, and what I'll do, I'll just go and get close here. Typically, when I do my lightings, what I'll do, I'll start with lights where you kind of expect to see lights. So underneath the upper cabinets, on the top of the range, or a couple of places like that. So to put lights underneath the upper cabinets, I just use L on my keyboard, and then you see that plus next to my mouse. You can also click here on the left, and just add a new light. But I guess it goes faster if you just use the L button on your keyboard. I'll go and put a couple of lights there. All the lights that I put at the same height elevation, they will be grouped together by default. And now we also have a feature called Align Light. So when I do that, it will just go and make sure that they're all in a straight line, that they have even spacing in between them. So, when you place them, it's just much easier. You can move them as a group as well. Typically for lights underneath the upper cabinets like that, what I use is not the point light, the spotlights. It would be what we call the point lights. So it's more like a ball of light. It will emit lights in all the direction. But since I'm underneath the upper cabinets, I guess the light, it just stays there. But this is really like the way you make it look more like a LED lighting, like that. After that, in a project, normally what I'll do, I'll start to add a little bit more ambient lighting. So in this case, what I'll do, I'll just go and put 2 lights on my countertop. If I select one and now use Control to add a second one to my selection, I'll turn them both to point lights, go up in the project about eye level. I can change temperature as well. It's always nice to play with different temperature lighting like that in the project. And then what I'll do, I'll just finish up with two more lights, maybe like right here in my project. So one here and one there. Basically, those I call them ambient lights. So the idea again is just to make sure that we have light like pretty much everywhere in the project. As soon as you add those lights, basically you're creating those shadows, you're adding a lot of depth inside your project. Everything will start looking nicer, like in that seating there. You see those shadows, you see shadows next to those stools there, shadows underneath the table and everywhere. So it's always, like when you put the lights in, that's where the magic happens. When you're done with those lights, you can also go and play with the sunlight. So sunlight is, I guess you all know what a sunlight is. It's a light that is outside. You can play with direction, elevation, intensity. You can make it warmer. It's always nice to have a really warm sun. As I mentioned before, as soon as you add sunlight in your project, everything seems more inviting. It seems warmer, more comfortable as well. So it's always a very, very good idea to add the sunlight inside of your projects like that. I always try to give it as much impact as possible, meaning, I don't care where it comes in real life at my customer's place. I just want to make sure that whenever he sees that video, he wants to buy that kitchen. That's really the whole goal of that. You're creating pictures and videos to sell kitchens. So make sure that people really want to live in there. Like they want to be there. They want to cook in that kitchen as well. So that's something that really helps. After that, what I'll do, I'll go and click on my skybox options. So skyboxes are 360-degree pictures. They will show behind your project. In this case, let me just go and change my glass. It's better. I guess my glass was just a little bit opaque, so I could not see perfectly outside. So when you go and put that skybox there, you can turn it around, decide which side you want to see. You can also play with the exposure. Really often, also the exposure will even affect, like the lighting inside your project. So you see, when I do that, we get to see more reflections on the floor. We get to see all of that blooming effect also in the sky outside. But when you look like that, it's good, but it will give like really nice shots, especially when I get on this side of the project. So maybe now it's too much. Let's go just like that. Perfect. Another trick. Oh, actually, one trick. I never say that in my webinars, but I get you're lucky that I picked this table. If you want to add a light there, for example, like the best way to add a light in a place like that, you can go and make it as a point light. And when I do that, as you can see, like it will create, actually you cannot really see it much, but it create kind of like weird shadows all over the place because of the light or where it is. Really often when you just go and play with the range, play with the intensity, you can kind of diminish those. But what you can also do is where it says shadow type here, you can just go and put none. So when you do that, basically you'll lose all of the shadows from that light, but you still get that brightness that is right there inside the project. So next step after that is to go in the visit section. So in visit, this is where we set up the viewpoints of our project. So what I'll do, I'll just find like different viewpoints that I like in the project. I click on the I there and then I plus. So it creates viewpoint number 0. Why are we not starting at 1? I don't know. But we start at 0. Then after that, we'll add the first one. So basically those viewpoints, when I click on them, you see the camera will just bring me to that position back. And then, so that's first reason we do that. Second reason, when I save the project, all of those viewpoints will become pictures of my project. So, you know, like if I want to have like 10 viewpoints, or then I'll end up having 10 pictures at the end. The other reason why we set up those viewpoints is for the walkthrough video. So in that walkthrough video, basically the camera will start on the first viewpoint, and we'll just start recording going all the way down to the last viewpoint. For that reason, we have very simple transition effects as well that will just, for example, like a skip to the next viewpoint. You can drag them also and change the order at your point. So if you want to insert a point in between two other points, you can do that and just drag them around very easily. I always like to go and add, you know, like a viewpoint that will be like close like that to the countertop. And then, you know, that's when I use the lateral movement on my keyboard to add something like that. In the transition effects, we also have like speed transitions. So you can make it go faster, slower between two different points. We have also pause. So a pause will just make it stop at a certain viewpoint and then stop for a couple of seconds that you can decide. And then I'll just go and add another viewpoint, like maybe on this side. When I'm right here, actually, maybe you can see it or not on the screen, but there's something called like a sun shaft. So you kind of see like the sunlight beams coming in the project when you look at a window when it's really, really bright. So now I have this viewpoint, and then maybe I'll finish here. So when I'm done with my viewpoints, basically now if I go and save the project, all the viewpoints will be converted into pictures. Like that. So now if I go in my gallery, I'll be able to see all of my pictures that have been saved of my project. One of the nice thing also with that is basically if I go back to my project, make any changes that I want, save again, it will delete those pictures and replace them with new ones. So you don't need to manage older versions. But if you wanted to show two different options to your customer, what you can do, you can just go and save as and call it like option 2 or option blue or option black. I don't know. But yeah, so and when you do that, you'll be able by using load designs to load option 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can make as many versions for your project as you want. I really advise you on creating one version good, final first, and then after that, from there, you can copy and create other ones. After that, for the video recording, basically you can click here on recording options. That's where you have the resolution of the video that you'll record. We go from 720p all the way up to 4K resolution. You know, like the higher, the better. The higher, the more time it will take to record, but it's not that much difference. You know, on my computer, recording a 4K video with this project, maybe it will take me 5-6 minutes. Do the same thing in 1080p will be maybe 2-3. So yes, it's double, but it's still only just 3 minutes more. So you know, it's always better to record in 4K because like it will look better on your customer's television if they watch it remotely. It will look better in your television if they come in your showroom to watch it as well. In here we have also video personalization. That's where we have the name that will be displayed at the beginning of those videos. After that, we have soundtrack options. So that's music that will play in your video background when you go and play it. And then all you have to do is just click on record. The camera will go back to the first viewpoint and we'll start recording my video. So it starts like it will kind of reduce the resolution on the screen. So what you're watching right now, it's not the final result. It's just while it's recording. So you see now it's moving. It will go and visit all of my different viewpoints. I can see here, it says like it's going to viewpoint number 1. So I know where it's at in my recording. While it's recording, I just wanted to show here, we have a branding option. So the branding option, basically what it means is that we will take your company logo. We can create a custom animation that will be, you know, applied in front and in the back of all of the videos that you'll be recording. It also adds a watermark with your logo on the bottom right corner of all of the pictures that you will take. So that's a one-time fee option. You just pay for it. when we do it, because we have a graphic artist that will create that animation and then upload it to the server and all of that, but you don't need to pay for that every year. When you're ready to commit, basically you can go on our website. There you'll find we have animation templates. You can go and watch them all. If you don't like any of them, just let me know. I can give you access to thousands and thousands of different animation templates. That's for that. I guess I started with that, so I don't need to mention about the live chat. But if you have any questions, just come to the live chat. It's always a good place to get answers. So you see now, like, my video is almost finished recording. What I'll do, I'll just stop it so you can see what goes on after that. So you see the videos playing now. I'll just mute my music. Then we have the project name, presented by, and then the visit will start going through inside my kitchen. We have here the upload panel to YouTube. So basically I'm already connected to my YouTube account. So all I have to do is click on start upload and it will be uploaded on my account. When you upload those videos on YouTube, they don't have to be public. They can be unlisted. And that's the option that we put there by default. You can have private videos or public videos. So basically an unlisted link, that means if you send me that link, I can watch it, no problem, very easy. I can take that link and share it with my wife. She'll be able to watch it fine as well. And then she can share it with anyone else that she should like to as well. The private links, you need to be connected on your account with your Google account or YouTube account to be able to watch those videos. That's a little bit harder, but there are ways to give access to only one specific person when you use the private videos. And then you have the public ones. So public ones, if you go on our YouTube channel, the VORTEK Spaces YouTube channel, all the videos that you'll be able to see are the public ones, but we have probably hundreds of unlisted videos that you'll never get to see unless you ask me for them. So you can do that. One nice thing also to know is that even once they've been uploaded on YouTube as unlisted or private, you can always go back and switch them back to public videos and then just use them as publicity for your company, share them on Instagram and Facebook and all of those beautiful social networks. So, and one thing also that I forgot to mention, when I was in my staging area, sorry for jumping back one section. When you're in staging, we have the render settings here, and I do have a little bit more maybe because I did turn on my expert mode. Expert mode is something that you can find in the settings when you click on the top right of the application. When you turn it on, basically you'll have a little bit more options here. But the reason I wanted to show that is, for example, like stuff like the blooming effect, you see it's already turned on. We already have intensity, threshold, radius. So pretty much all of the options that you see there that should be turned on, they're already turned on. They're already adjusted and fine-tuned to the best results. We know what kind of projects you're doing, so we kind of know how much reflection you need. But it's always nice to know that it's there. If I want to go and just play with the overall exposure of my project, I can just go and play with that instead of playing with individual lights. But it's always something that you should go and play with at the end when you're done with the lighting and everything. Otherwise, maybe you'll just get very confused if you put the exposure down and then after that you try to compensate with more lights, for example. In here, another option that is nice to know is called field of view. Field of view is just like a wide angle on a camera, so I can basically just see more of my project. We again, by default it's at 60, so 60 is already cheating a little bit. We're making the view a little bit wider. It will kind of deform a little bit stuff on the outside of the room, but that's really how it comes out better for interior projects. If you're working on closets or bathrooms, that's where you really want to back that up and be able to see more of that project. So, for example, for a walk-in, it's better if you see more of the wall at once. That's better than having some distortion on the exterior. I mean, like you don't mind about the distortion as much walk-in if you can see full wall in front of you, just to make it like a better view. So so that's pretty much it for what I had to show you guys today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have any questions, the chat is still there, it's still open. Actually, I do have a question. It's can you explain again the difference between save and save as? as if I update via cabinet vision, where will the file be saved as? So yeah, like that's it's a simple question. So when you save, basically you just save the project like that. When you do save as, basically you're creating a copy of this project that you can save as with different, different material options and things like that. And then the second part of your question, where you're asking where the files are getting saved, basically in this case, I'll just save it and get out of the project to show you. So when you're in the start screen, you see here, there's an option for working folder. So that's something that you have picked probably like when you first installed it, or maybe if we connected together at one point, I probably helped you setting up the working folder. But basically the working folder, like that's where the files are getting saved for Spaces. The working folder is not somewhere where you should save stuff. It's basically just, it's our folder. Please leave it alone. Keep it like that. But but by choosing the working folder, that means you can decide that we will save those videos and pictures on your D drive or C drive, or being synchronized by OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Drive, for example, stuff like that. So you can basically pick where those files will be saved on your computer. The nice thing also about the working folder, if you want to know where it is, you can just put your mouse in front of the restore button here, and normally you'll be able to see like all the different locations that you've been using for your folders. When you go inside that folder, and that's really one nice part of it, and I'll show you here inside my folder. Basically, I've got one folder for every single project that I've been working on in Spaces. So webinar 0 to 18, that's the one we've been working together. When I go inside there, I have one folder for each design. So, when you're asking about the save and the save as, basically, if I do save, it will always just be one option here. And then if I did save as, then I would have like more than one option. Then when you go in there, I can find all of my JPEG pictures. I've got my video as well here. So, like I said, like making that folder accessible is really nice, because you can easily just go and decide to take these 4 pictures and the video and just send them somewhere else, copy and paste somewhere else. So like I said, it's really nice to know where those files are, so you can share them easier. But just make sure that you don't save anything else in that folder, that only Spaces save stuff inside there. So how can we place multiple pendants above an island as opposed to insert one by one? Actually, there's actually something that is coming, or actually that kind of it's half there now, but it's kind of half of the feature. So there's an object grouping feature now. So what that means is that you can go and apply and select multiple items at the same time. So for example, and I'll just let it open so I can show you. So, if I wanted to put, for example, like a pendant, and I'll show you some tricks where pendant, so let's say like this one. So first what I'll do, I'll just go and put one here and place it. I guess that's a huge one. So I guess I'll just scale it. So, if I use a shortcut S on my keyboard, so I can just go and scale it like that. So after that, if you want to put multiple ones and make it easier for you, all you have to do is just go in and click on that item. You can use I on your keyboard. Guess the I doesn't want to work. So what I'll do, I'll just go and put this one here next to it. So I guess you do have to put them one by one, but what I wanted to show after, and when I said that it's kind of half a feature, is because it will get better. But at this point, if I go and just pick one, I can hold Control on my keyboard and just select them all at the same time. So now I get to move them all together. I can also create a group. There's a button here where I can just create a group. And now this item, when I go and select it, basically I've got a group that I can save in my library as a group as well. And then this group, if I wanted to put it again, so now I can just go and put 3 lights at the same time. So when I'm saying it's kind of a half feature, so like the grouping is there, it's really nice, but there are some saving as groups that are missing or stuff like that. And with the group feature, also something else that will be coming soon is that we will kind of output our own models as separate entities as well. So that means that, for example, if you go in the bathroom accessories and take that shelf, right now everything is kind of glued together. You cannot remove any parts of it. But soon what you'll be able to do is take that shelf, put it on the wall, and then just take every single item and put them somewhere else in the project. So that's really, that will help a lot in the time it takes to get there. So we're always working on improving stuff and making better. But like I said, being able to break those items as single items will really be a big time saver. Creating those groups as well will just help you, also making it much faster and move everything together at the same time. So like I said, it's better than it was a month ago, but it will be better soon. Are we able to change the color of the backsplash tiles? Yes. If I go here in my materials, basically we have the backsplash category in here, but there's also a category called Soligo, and that's really where you should go and take your backsplashes. Like those ones, they just look much nicer than anything else that we have in the backsplash section. So if you go and put, for example, like this one, so what's nice with those tiles, first, when you click on the pen, you'll be able to change the grout option or the grout color to anything that you would want. So if you want to make it more like gray, darker, lighter, things like that, you can do that. With those tiles, you can also decide how they will be laid out on the wall. So you can just go with a herringbone pattern like that. And if you want to change the color of the backsplash tiles, what you do, just as I showed for the flooring, copy and edit. So now I have a copy of the product. That's basically a deal that we have with those suppliers. If you're going to change the color, it's not the extra bianco anymore. So that's why it's a copy of it. And then you can basically just go and change the color right here and change it to anything else that you would want. So, if you want a blue or I guess aqua like that, looks pretty cool. I'm not a designer, so, don't don't judge me on the colors that I pick. But yeah, like that's basically how you can change that. All right. So any more questions? Thank you, Paula. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you learned something. If you're, if you still have questions, just make sure you send me an email. You come in the live chat. We're always there to help. We really like to connect with you remotely to help you fix your things. Any questions that you might have, just let us know. So thank you very much and have a great day.